Hi guys, today's video is going to be how to open a Vanguard account and a little more about ISAs. Thanks for visiting my channel Free Your Finance. I'm documenting my journey towards financial independence. I talk about investing, property and savings, along with giving some helpful hints and tricks hopefully along the way. If this sounds like something you may be interested in watching more of, please hit the subscribe button below. So as I explained at the start of this video, I'm going to be explaining how to open an ISA with Vanguard. An ISA, also known as an individual savings account, is a tax-free account where you can save up to £20,000 a year right now in 2020 and not pay any tax on the amount you gain within your account. Now there are multiple different types of ISAs and you've probably heard about a lot of them. There's cash ISAs that you can often get at banks, there's lifetime ISAs, there's stocks and shares ISAs. In today's video we're going to be covering stocks and shares ISAs. So there are many more companies around that you can get a stocks and shares ISA with. I personally use Vanguard as they're a really established company formed back in 1975. They're one of the largest providers of funds around the globe. Their fees are really low, which as we're going to discuss in later videos is such an important part of investing. And then finally they offer a fantastic service. There's a UK office that answer the call right away and they are really helpful at answering all the questions you have. You never feel rushed to get off the phone to them. Obviously they can't give you financial advice, but they're always there to give a helping hand. So as I've said, we're talking about the stocks and shares ISA, so we're going to be investing in the stock market. Now automatically this can be a scary thing for some people, but investing in the stock market doesn't actually have to be that scary. Although some people have lost a lot of money in the stock market, there are safer ways of doing it, especially if you have a longer term view. Most of my stock market portfolio is made up of index funds. These are funds made up of hundreds, if not thousands of companies. So rather than betting on one company doing well, you're betting on either a whole country to do well, a whole sector to do well, or even the whole globe to do well. So although there's no guarantee whatsoever the stock market is always going to go up, we can look at historical data. So right now I'm looking at the S&P 500 index fund, which is made up of 500 of the largest companies in North America. This is actually quite a good fund, as some of the largest companies in North America are made up of companies such as Google, Facebook, Microsoft, who are actually companies that serve the whole world. Although being based in North America, they're actually worldwide global corporations. Now as you can see, from 1980 to right now in 2020, the trend of this market has been upwards. We've gone through some big dips. For example, we had that dip with the dot-com bubble in 2000, we had the housing market crash in 2008. But in the long run, as long as you can ride out these dips and you have the time horizon to do so, the stock market trends upwards. If you only have a short-term horizon and you're after a get-rich-quick, then in my opinion, index funds and the stock market may not be the best thing for you. For all you know, you could buy just before one of these big dips, and it could be a few years before your stocks return to the cost they were when you bought them. Now again, today's video is going to be about opening an ISA. I promise I'm getting to that part, but I'm just quickly talking about why I like stocks and shares ISAs and index funds. Another great thing about these index funds is a lot of them pay dividends. Now these are either through accumulation funds, which the dividends are reinvested into the fund automatically, or some of the funds, for example the ones I use, actually pay me a dividend every quarter. I personally choose to reinvest that and buy more funds. Okay, so we're going to move over to the Vanguard UK website. This is the website right now as of June 2020. Obviously, if you're watching this video later down the line, the website may look a little different. Just make sure you're on Vanguard's proper website and not something else. On this homepage, you can see at the top, there's a tab that says Open an Account. Once you've clicked on Open Account, you'll hit this page. Now, if you already had a login like I do, that's where you do it. And if not, you can see there's an option there to apply for a Vanguard account. So we'll just click that. It's telling us we need our national insurance number, our debit card details and our bank account details. So once you click on Start My Application, it's going to give you 4 different accounts. This was actually only 3 different accounts only a matter of months ago, but they've recently introduced their SIP, their Vanguard Pension, Self-Invested Personal Pension. The other 3 accounts that we can see, the Vanguard Stocks and Shares ISA, which is what we're talking about today. There's a Junior ISA. This is an ISA that has to be opened by a child's parent or legal guardian. For this financial year, 20 to 21, you can put in £9,000 limit and the child can withdraw it when they turn 18. And finally, we have a Vanguard general account. Now, if you're lucky enough that you can top up your ISA and fill it up completely with your 20,000 limit, this is an account you can then invest further money. Obviously, this account will no longer be within the ISA wrapper, so it will no longer be tax-free. So you will indeed need to pay tax on your gains. So as you can see, with each account, you can either open an account or transfer an account from a previous provider. Today, we're going to open a brand new account. So on the next screen, it's giving us some important information. You have to read through the key features, the ISA declaration, the privacy policy and the terms and conditions. Once you've done this all, which obviously I have already, you can tick that box and continue through. You will notice, by the way, on this page it's saying you have to be a UK resident and you're not from the US. Don't worry if you are in the US and you're watching this video. Firstly, that's amazing that I've got someone in the US watching my videos, but secondly, you just need to go to the Vanguard US website and you'll be able to open an account. So on the next page, this may be where it looks a little bit confusing, but this will now ask us where we want to invest our first little bit of cash. There are 4 different areas where we can put our money. There's blended funds, equity funds, fixed income funds and cash. So let's quickly go through each of them. I'm not going to go into too much detail in today's videos, that's not what it's about today, and I will be covering that in later videos. So firstly, the blended funds. Now, they are what they say in the name. They're blended of stocks and bonds. Now, with these life strategy funds you can currently see on the screen, they're made up of a percentage of stocks and bonds. Now, the percentage number you can see in the name of the fund corresponds to how much of that fund is made up of stocks. So, for example, the 80% life strategy fund is made up of 80% stocks and 20% bonds. Now again, I'm not going to go too deep into stocks and bonds and all of this information. This is going to be something I cover in a whole new video. But for some people, they'll start introducing bonds if they're looking for a slightly lower risk, or maybe as they start getting a bit older and it's more about wealth preservation rather than wealth accumulation. Now usually, but not always, the more bonds you hold in your fund means less volatility. However, it can also mean less growth too. Next up, we have the target retirement funds. Now with these funds, you can set the date that you wish to retire. So if you look in the names of the funds, they have a year in the fund, and that will then automatically rebalance your portfolio what they think will be a good mixture of stocks and bonds. This is great for anyone that really doesn't want to do a thing and just set it up and never think about it again. But what I have heard is these funds can be slightly cautious, so you may want to decide on picking one with a date just after your retirement date. So let's say, for example, you're hoping to retire in 2045, maybe you could pick the 2050 or the 2055, and it will just slightly delay the time before those funds start moving more into bonds and start delaying the growth that the funds are getting. Now next up, we have the equity funds. These are made up of stocks. You can get various funds from around the world in different countries. You can get Europe funds, you can get global funds. Again, we're going to go through all this in a further video, so don't worry too much about this. You'll notice there's key investor details. This is one of the funds I actually invest in, VWRL. It will go through all the information about the fund, it will go through the charges, it will go through its past performance. However, do bear in mind, past performance doesn't mean it's going to copy that and do this in the future. It could be completely different, so please bear that in mind. Scrolling down the page, we've then got fixed income funds, so these are going to be our bonds. You can go for bonds in Europe, you can go for global bonds, UK bonds, emerging market bonds, all sorts of different things. And then finally you have cash. So cash is if you want to put money into your account without actually investing it and decide what you want to do with it once your ISA is open. So anyway, we're going to scroll back up to the top of the page and we're going to put a single payment of £500, which is the minimum amount you can put in as a single payment, and we're going to set up a regular monthly payment too of £100, which again is the minimum you can choose. Once you put in the figures of what you want to invest in each fund, and just to let you know, you can set up payments into multiple funds, you don't have to choose just one fund. We're then going to continue through at the bottom of that page, and it's going to ask us to start filling in some personal details about ourselves. I'm just going to quickly make up one. I hope Vanguard don't mind, but if they do, I'm recommending your product, guys, and I think you're amazing, so please don't tell me off. Once you've filled in your personal details, again, we're going to continue through and it's going to ask us to set up a username and a password. Pretty standard stuff. I'm sure you're used to this sort of stuff, setting up any sort of online account. Scrolling down the page, you're then going to be asked for your phone number, your contact information. Please note all of this information is completely fake, so don't try ringing anyone. And then finally, you're going to come through to this confirmation page. This is where you can just check everything. You'll see that the fund that we've picked has an ongoing charge of 0.22%. That is a really low fee, although you can get as low as 0.06 on Vanguard, which is the FTSE 100. However, in my opinion, anything below 0.4, 0.3% is great. Trust me, that's still really, really low, especially if you can compare it to an active fund, which can be 1 or 2% plus. And you can see also down the page, Vanguard charges an account fee of 0.15%. This is a tiny amount, and it's capped at £250,000 within your ISA. So the minute you hit £250,000 or more, which hopefully you all will, you will never get charged more than 0.15% of £250,000, which is £375. Now, if you've ever got £250,000 in your ISA, I don't think you're going to be moaning about a £375 charge. Instead, you're probably going to be laying on a beach somewhere, not watching these videos. You can put in your bank details and continue through, and then you've set up your ISA. You'll hear back from Vanguard within a day or so. They're usually really quick, and hopefully your ISA will be all open, ready and set up to go. So I hope today's video helped you a little bit and explained just a tiny bit more about Vanguard ISAs and how to set up an account. If you'd like to follow me and see more of my videos as I upload them, please hit the subscribe button. My face should be popping up on this left side. Click on that and hit subscribe, and I look forward to talking to you really soon. Take care.